Okay, I'm going to share my screen now and start the presentation. Thanks everyone for coming today. I love that you're taking your time to expand your horizons and learn new things and enrich your various projects. So I hope I will deliver you just that, an enrichment. My name's Elizabeth Krasnoff, and it's an honor to be here with you today. I'm going to take 15 minutes for this inquiry. So there's a few minutes for question answer if you have a question or two. And I want to talk to you about how sound can shift our states of consciousness. There's going to be a little bit of science, a little bit of experiential. And what I'm really going to go into detail on is binaural beats, which is a scientifically evidenced technology to affect the brain and nervous system. I'll play some of them in this presentation, but without the headphones, you're not going to have the full experience, of course. And then what I want to touch on today is some of the exciting developments in the use of virtual reality and binaural beats. I'm going to talk a little bit about my own dissertation and pilot study and some of my binaural beats formulas, and then share some of the other studies that are out there. I am a certified intuitive counselor, a sound practitioner, heart math practitioner. I'm a doctor of transformation. As I said, I am half deaf. I'm not fully deaf, but very deaf with a lot of issues. And I think that's probably why I've spent my whole life in the world of vibration, studying sound and studying healing through sound. You can't study sound without studying consciousness. I've had 22 years as a singer-songwriter, and I did have a practice for 10 years healing with sound medicine. That's where I came across binaural beats, and I found it so effective that I ended up studying them. I've been studying them for 8 years. I have the first dissertation that I know of, the first PhD in binaural beats. So for those of you that matters for, you may consider that a conflict of interest. I make and sell and research binaural beats. But I did get some very good news today. My article summarizing my pilot study, my case study, was accepted at the Frontiers in Neuroscience Journal in the Neuroscience. What you're seeing today, you will read about in Frontiers in Neuroscience shortly. All right, so again, a dissertation overview. We're going to look at what are binaural beats. We're going to look at the pilot study and some evidence-based formulas, and then binaural beats and virtual reality. So you all are in an age that understands getting high very differently than your predecessors. Many kids are turning to digital uses such as binaural beats to do many things, not only relax or fall asleep or change their mood, but to actually get high. If you went on YouTube, you'd see millions of hits for binaural beats and many other sound healing technologies. But I want to talk to you about what is binaural hearing and binaural beats in specific. So binaural hearing is a pathway in your brain. It's the ability to hear in 2 ears. Binaurally equipped species like us use it for locating auditory objects in space, like predators. So we can flee from them or eat them, or in a modern civilization, what we use binaural hearing for is to target the person's voice that we're trying to listen to at a restaurant or cocktail party. It's a targeting mechanism. Where is that bird? Where is that person? Binaural beats is using that auditory pathway. It is a technology that was largely introduced to us in 1973 in Scientific American, in which you create a difference tone using 2 slightly different pitches. So for those of you that play an instrument, like the note A on the piano is 440 hertz. So you put 440 hertz in your left ear and 444 hertz in your right ear. That difference tone, that 4 hertz, that is how we are sending a binaural beat to your brain. So that's why you have to listen with headphones, because that difference tone is an illusion. It only exists inside your brain. And then what we have learned is that our electrical brainwave patterns respond to these precise frequencies that we are sending to them. So what is, oh, here, I'm hoping you can hear this. This is what it sounds like when you play the difference tone out loud in an auditory file. You hear like a phasing, like a beating, right? So you're hearing the two carrier frequencies rub against each other. What you are not hearing is the illusion of the 4 or 6 or whatever hertz that is between them. So a hertz is a cycle per second. So your heartbeat, that runs at, let's say if it's going 60 beats per minute, that's a sort of a standard resting pulse. That means it's 1 beat per second, okay? That's a hertz. In 1 second, it has cycled once. So when we are talking about brain frequencies and their cognitive states, for you psychology students, what we're talking about is how many times that sound cycled per second. And now, how many times is your brain, the electrical response in your brain, cycling per second? So think about it like gears on a car. Let's start down at the bottom of the slide, delta, 0.5 to 4 hertz. That's 0.5 to 4 cycles per second. That is the predominant brainwave activity when you are engaged in sleep. We always have all of these 5 main frequencies and more, to be honest with you, but these are the 5 main ones. But in these cognitive states, those are the predominant cycles that you're going to see. So moving up to theta, from 4 to 8 hertz, your brain is going to cycle 4 to 8 hertz per second in its predominant brainwave, and your cognitive state is going to be deeply relaxed and inward focused. But you're still pretty, snoozy. It's a meditative state. Alpha, now we're moving up in the car gears. We're starting to get into 3rd gear for those of you that drive manual. 8 to 12 hertz, you're still very relaxed. It's passive attention, but you're more alert and attentive to what's around you. Move up into beta. That is the everyday anxiety dominant, active, external attention state that you are in right now in your classroom, when you're in production, when you're in conversation. You can still be relaxed here, but more often we are anxious. So then gamma is really the fastest frequency that we're going to look at here. That's intense concentration, epiphany, and focus. Now, how can we use these sounds? Let's talk a little bit more about what this means. Well, my dissertation was an overview of binaural beats. It was a transdisciplinary review, which means that I covered all the major disciplines that we find the study of binaural beats in. So the 3 places that are really using these beats are the field of health, the field of neuroscience, and the field of psychology. And they're using them both to experiment and learn about the brain, and they're learning them both to create states of wellness and health. I reviewed 26 peer-reviewed studies for 18 experimental conditions and had a lot to say about what future research needs to look like in the field of binaural beats. I learned in my study that it is absolutely so that binaural beats affect our brain states and our autonomic nervous system, that they enhance our conscious awareness and meditation, and that they synchronize our brain hemispheres, right? So there is so much potential here for a healing tool that is non-invasive, easily accessible, and inexpensive. So here are what the studies support. Binaural beats can positively affect your neural rhythms in cases of sleep, anxiety, stress, brain function, attention and cognition, memory, your nervous system, trance and meditation, and as an analgesic for pain control. The predominant theory of how binaural beats work, we haven't followed their full signal. We know a lot of it, but we don't know the full signal. So I have to use the word theory here as opposed to science or evidence. The theory is that it's going through your reticular activating system, which is the gateway for your primary states of consciousness. Your three basic states of consciousness as a human being are awake and alert, to that middle slow wave sleep or resting, that's kind of like meditation, or 3, asleep and dreaming. So it stands to reason that those 3 states may be the same thing that we're talking about when we're measuring the electrical rhythms in the brain and delineating them into these 5 states of brain waves. A major area for research in this field. And also, if you look at the fact that the reticular activating system is in your hypothalamus, in the center of your brain there, look at what the hypothalamus regulates. By the way, your nervous system is a rhythm. Your cardiovascular system is a rhythm. Your endocrine system, your hormones, is a rhythm. That's why music is so powerful in affecting those rhythmic states in your body. Many other uses as well. That rhythm, by the way, is an entrainment. Binaural beats are not an entrainment. They do something different, more, we think, like resonance. So look, all these things you can potentially regulate with binaural beats. We have medically validated uses, relief of anxiety, depression, and pain. I did my own study. I went into the lab. I did an alpha theta study with 4 conditions, double blind and controlled. And I even made the binaural beats inaudible so that you would not have to worry about whether it was a placebo or not. Nobody knew what they were listening to. I played this track. It was a relaxation meditation track, and each participant of the 4 participants listened to both brown noise as a control condition and then with added binaural beats, and listened to this relaxation track as a control condition, and then we added binaural beats. We measured it with EEG. This is the system that we studied, which is the gold standard mainstream scientific method we have for measuring your brain. If any of you get into this, you will be working with EEG to measure the electrical activity of your brain. It's heavily used in psychology, in any of the cognitive sciences where we want to know how the brain is responding to treatments and therapies. We saw by measuring our theta beta brainwaves, that bandwidth, that in 7 out of 8 conditions, the CZ score lowered, showing that the brain calmed down in the theta beta bands after listening to the binaural beats. We measured the alpha brain waves, and we showed in 7 out of 8 conditions that the number increased, showing a more positive processing mode in the brain. They felt more positive. This scalp topography map is just showing you in colors what happened to subject 3's brain in session 2 and session 4 when we added the binaural beats. The red equals a very excited active state, and the blue equals a calm state. So you can see how the brain waves calmed. So this, again, was a very encouraging study in terms of developing musical products, incorporating binaural beats to affect the states of consciousness that we are wanting to affect. Now, some really interesting things are starting to happen. Binaural beats and all brainwave technologies really work double in synergy. You get double the results, double the effects. The more brainwave technologies you put together, the more positive effect you can expect. And again, this can be monitored by studying the electrical response in the brain through biometrics like EEG. What we learned here in this study was that during the pandemic, users positively impacted their emotional well-being using Trip. Now, this is a VR app designed by Oculus, and this wellness platform blended artificial intelligence, binaural beats, differential color tuning, and VR-based relaxation and mindfulness. And what we are seeing in the data, this was a very big data set in this study, that absolutely the neurology and the emotional psychology was improved. Again, in this study, so I'm just going to briefly define for you brain-computer interfacing. Maybe many of you already know what this is, but it's really the frontier of mind-body connection. I mean, we're already putting chips in our brain and testing it. I think what I've read is about the year 2027, we're going to see these technologies really come to market. But what it is, brain-computer interface, is a partnership between the brain and a computer, where the brain accepts and communicates with the computer as if it was a real part of the human body. So basically, you are thinking your thoughts, and this interface is making them happen. You're not making them happen with your muscles. So visual, it's called audiovisual stimulation, is one type of brain-computer interfacing. And in this study, they've used AVS, which is the external impact of rhythmic light and sound stimuli on the brain, to study the alpha brainwave. And they did have a positive result. They saw that the combination of binaural beats and frequency following flickering light stimulus has been demonstrated to affect the alpha brainwave. What that means is you create that difference tone with the sound waves, and you create that same cycling with light wave. So now you're asking the brain from two different places to change its brain waves for you and to produce the corresponding cognitive state. So this is exciting. It's suggesting that AVS can help people achieve long-term improvements in their cognitive process, concentration, alertness, and relaxation. Now, this last one that I want to tell you about is very cool. It's being used, these technologies, for healing, for helping people with disabilities, for helping people with neurological issues, but it is also expanding over into gaming and entertainment. So this company used binaural beats in a computer-mediated networked sensory deprivation tank situation for the sake of playing a game. It is a new form of game playing. There's one or more participants, and each go in a sensory deprivation tank, like you can see there, wearing a waterproof VR headset for a biofeedback-based virtual interaction. And the binaural beats and the visuals work together to completely suspend your disbelief, which means that you virtually cannot discern the difference between reality and where you are. So sound, and particularly binaural beats, are a very big part of what is coming to us, both for healing technologies and entertainment technologies. Now, again, we're looking at that in 2027. But right now, you could listen to binaural beats and shift your states of consciousness. If you're looking for delta frequencies, that will help you sleep. If you're looking for meditative frequencies, look for your alpha theta frequencies. I like to blend the frequencies because it more accurately represents the brainwave states in our brain. That's also creativity, trance. You can even use them when you're moving for meditation. And for focus, concentration, or memory, I'll play a track. This is one of my tracks where I have alpha beta brainwaves in it. I use that for my ADHD clients, or to help people if they're wanting to go shopping in the grocery store and they have focus problems, anything like that. And then for intense focus and clarity and creativity, that's a burst of gamma waves. So a very exciting frontier. To summarize, binaural beats, the difference in two frequencies seems to resonate specific frequencies in the brain. The informed selection and proper application of these frequencies seems to induce cognitive effects and correlative states of consciousness. And binaural beats in virtual reality have a powerful synergistic effect. If you would like to experience binaural beats, if you want to see my dissertation or the pilot study, everything's on my website, sound-medicine.com. If you sign up for the newsletter, you get a free binaural beats track, and there's a lot of information there, and you can email me for any questions. I'm not going to read you all these references, but I do want to say thank you to Bishop's University for holding this symposium, and to Shoshana for this beautiful gathering and inquiry into so many different delightful aspects of sound. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if you all have any questions for me before we move on.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I would love to do questions if there's one pressing for sure, but we're a bit behind on time because we started a bit late. But yeah, really, does anyone have a question before we move on? Because that was beautiful. Thank you, Elizabeth.
You can also just email them to me, elizabeth@sound-medicine.com.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that just because we gotta keep moving. But that, yeah, I think it was such a perfect way to open it up. And yeah, I feel all tingly just from hearing the music. So yeah, thank you so much. It was amazing.
My great pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the day, everyone, and good luck with your exciting projects. I look forward to hearing from you.
Lots of love. Thanks so much.